Hey there, Alex here. Welcome to another episode on Sweet Spot Soul. I just finished recording another one and I just had another little epiphany that just kind of kicked up here. And it has to do with what I was just sharing on the last video about, coming into presence and into union energy as best we can. And what was kicking up for me was really how different it is depending on where you are in terms of your level of consciousness. Okay, so a huge part of this, well, really the what's happening as we are coming from a separation consciousness into a unity consciousness and into an inner union, is we are raising our level of consciousness, our level of awareness, and our frequency so that we're able to handle more and more soul energy and embody it in the body. Okay. Now we can reach that soul energy, of course, through meditation and by, zenning out, right? Beautiful. And those high samadhi states where you leave the body and the mind, you can even deny the body and the mind and live in that space and come into what feels like a union energy, which you recognize when you come back to and go, wow, that felt really amazing. And then the twin knocks on your door in 72 hours. Nonetheless, that's not necessarily sustainable living in union, in inner union, which is going to be a sustainable potential for 3D union with the physical. So what I wanted to share is that there are steps to this. As you're moving your way up the scale of consciousness into more frequency, into more soul embodiment, your core resonant frequency rises, and that affects the twin because you are the same. And in the fifth dimension, your energetics are the same. They are the same. And so that will play out in their 3D world over time. Okay. There's a reflection and there's a time delay. So don't worry about that. But that raising of consciousness affects the two of you. Okay. And when you raise that so that your core resonant frequency, your constant frequency is higher and higher and higher, and it stays there, you don't have to manage the ups and downs as much, because when it goes down, it doesn't throw you guys into massive separation. So how you can tell where you are on that scale, of course, is by looking at the scale of consciousness, okay, which I'm not going to pull out in this exact moment, but noticing where you are, where you're feeling, where are your predominant feelings, okay? Now, I actually have this measured because I love to be able to see, not so much to be like linearly locked in and like so have to see and score myself. It's more to see what I can't see on my own. It's more to give me some lens to see where are certain areas that I can work on. What are some things to, mine out or question? And where am I really feeling like, oh, I know that I'm on track over there. So those are important measurements for me personally, but I love that relationship with personal development, right? So I'm just fascinated by that. And I'm so committed, and especially, even though I was already committed, but once I met my twin, it was like, holy crap, yes, now I must get there because I don't want to suffer anymore. So I made it really, it just became so obvious that I learned about the scale of consciousness. All of these things became a part of my reality that I was creating, that helped me to move through this, and get to these places. So again, we're moving up the scale of consciousness into higher states and ultimately locking in unconditional love for self and then, of course, for others. Now, unconditional love means unconditional. It means unconditional. No condition needs to be in place, whether we hold on to it as an attracting condition, a condition we're attracted to, or a condition that we're running away from. Attraction and aversion, this is the energetics of push and pull. This is the energy part of this whole thing. How we respond to conditions, push or pull, are the energetics. So no condition means there's no push or pull. Unconditional love means you are living from the heart space without conditions, without positions, without judgments, without any of that, which keeps the push and pull from happening. So you want to raise your level of consciousness to that level. So now what I wanted to share in this video is, as I was talking in the last video about what do you do when you feel a closure, or or a blockage or something is getting triggered and you're out of alignment for the moment, you're wanting to run away from something or cling on to something. You're getting into that response, that energetic response of one or the other. Whether this is with the twin or not, doesn't matter. But the point here, especially being that you'll probably be triggered by some thought about the twin, you feel the closure, and depending on where you are on that scale of consciousness is going to depend on your access to the amount of relief. Okay. So if you are newer on the journey and you're dysregulated, by some thought or situation or trigger or something. You feel the closure. The most important thing when I say get neutral is just aim for neutrality. Okay. On that scale of consciousness, if you're lower on the scale most of the time and you're in pride or desire or these different, fear energies, then, or self-loathing or any of those things, then just reaching for neutrality is a level up, right? Is a couple levels up on that scale. Neutrality, I think it's at, I can't remember the number, whatever it is. But neutrality would be to do some breath work, some slow, deep breathing, right? I've done some of this on my past videos. I won't go into it, but get yourself into a parasympathetic nervous system balance by doing some deep breathing. You can do some meditation for a little bit, even just 2 minutes of breathing, even a box breath, 4 seconds in, hold for 4, 4 seconds out, hold for 4, and so on. Even that will help to get you to neutral. Okay. You can do things like just start paying attention to, do your fingers like this or something about doing this, and counting. That can bring you into presence. So getting neutral is going to bring that dysregulation into regulation, bring the desire to fight or flight or what have you, to run towards or run away from. We'll bring that into a balance. Now, obviously with the twin, you're locked into one thing. It's going to be push. Most likely if you're listening to this, you're going to want to check in. You want to figure out what's going on. You're going to ruminate about the past. Should I have done something different? All of that mind stuff. It's got to go. So we got to bring it into neutral. So aim for neutrality. If you are at that point in your journey and you're not as high up on the scale of consciousness, meaning all that means it's not a judgment. Nobody's better than anybody. It just means you haven't locked in a core resonant frequency that's higher up. It gets easier as you go higher up. That's why I'm always talking about this scale. You do grow in that way. So neutrality is first. The next really, really big, amazing spot. Well, willingness, I really love too. Willingness is great because now you're willing to do a little bit more self-inquiry. When things are calm and things are good, you're like, okay, I think I want to dig in a little bit here because I've noticed this has come up a number of times, this abandonment issue. I really feel like I want to do a little, growth around that. So absolutely, you can do some of that work. I wouldn't recommend it in the midst of a trigger at all, but certainly it's something you can be willing to look into in another way. And this is, again, a lot of the work that I do, mining into these things and getting rid of them. So that's another thing. Willingness is good. But when you get to acceptance, okay, that's a 350. Acceptance is a beautiful level because now it's not just that you're neutral about what's going on, but you're actually truly in acceptance. You're able to start to see it and realize this is happening for me and I can let this totally move through. I am in full acceptance that this is happening. I don't judge it as good or bad. It doesn't need to be this way or that way. So I'm not just going la 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 la, okay, I'm just going to get neutral, which is perfect for that start when you're really, really triggered. But now you're like, I can be neutral because I can accept what's happening right now. Whether I prefer it or not, I can accept it. This is just what is. It's okay. Like I can be okay with this. I may not want to lean into it, but I don't need to run away from it either. Okay. So that's acceptance, 350, amazing level. And this as a core resonant frequency will absolutely allow the twin to be in your space all the time. You still have to watch the mind a little bit because you're not necessarily yet still fully overflowing with love, right? So that next level is going to be love, and love, maybe not yet without condition, but love that is just where you moved into the heart space. You see things now from a level of unity, not non-duality, but unity and connectedness, that you have a reverence for all of life at this point. You start to see just that everything is love and anything unlike it is just distorted. It's just a distortion. And it's not something that runs your life in any way, shape, or form. You can actually look at the distortions and see the perfection in those things playing out for whatever reason, for other people's realities, for the collective consciousness to be working itself out. We're all connected. Maybe it's something that you're meant to lean into to supply encouragement or love or to be available to somebody. You see the distortion and bam, you're there to serve, right? So you start to, when you feel your own a dysregulation of some sort, which is so rare when you're in that state of love, but when you do, you can look at it through the eyes of love. truly. And so you're not bothered, you're not thrown off. And that's an incredible, incredible state. And it's a state that you are minimally meant to reach on this journey. Now, most people are not, but you are. You would not have activated yourself into this journey had you not been on the way to love and unconditional love. Okay. It's rare, but it's less rare, and it's certainly normal for twin flames, that for anyone on this journey to get to that place and to be activated until you do. So again, neutrality first, and then that willingness, and then that acceptance level, and then the heart, love. Unconditional love is that next step, and that is locking in fifth dimensional living. Okay. They did do some readings on that, and I say they, from Holistic. I have a link on sweetspotsoul. If you're at all interested in that, just check that out there. But nonetheless, they did this a measurement. They said that that the fifth dimensional living, or fifth dimension, is experienced when you're in the frequencies. I think it was right around 520 and up, 520 to 560 or something like that's the lock-in place. And unconditional love is also considered 540. So you can be in that space a lot. You don't, but maybe it's not your core resonant frequency all the time, but you can be really close to it or wave into it a lot. And you will feel that fifth dimensional connected place where you and your twin meet and can stay. And so, and that's where they are. Anyway, your twin flame is you. Okay. This is just where you come into 0 point, total beauty, amazing living. And so that unconditional love space, the triggers just won't be there. They just won't, because there's no condition that can rock you off your equilibrium, out of that space of love. Unconditional love means no condition can move you out of love. And when you have unconditional love for yourself, because you've worked through the lower, denser distortions that have kept the energy from flowing to the heart and constantly being from the heart and the higher heart, then you are in that state of absolute inner union and self-love that will be reflected in your twin, in your physical twin, and in everything else. Your twin flame is everything else pushed out of you. And so you see the world through the eyes of unconditional love. No condition can rock you. That's huge. It's a tall order, but it's the order that you deliver, that you asked for in this lifetime. And so you means you're equipped to get there. So to wrap this up, when you realize that your life force energy, that kundalini, that Shakti energy that's moving up, it is moving up, and it is basically, when you're activated on this journey, it activated all of these centers. Your twin and you come together, and that DNA merges, and everything, unlike the perfection and wholeness, was pushed into this shared energetic field and polarized. So now you must, right? Because you know what that love feels like, and you know what that distortion feels like, and they're just like this constantly, until you alchemize and bring that to the heart, and bring that, allow for that Shakti energy to actually move all the way through and burn through. And so what's happening is you're feeling the blockages as they're getting hit, those parts of you there's stuck energies, and those stuck energies, those unprocessed beliefs, and I should say unprocessed emotions and traumas and wounds and all of that stuff. You don't have to go dive into them all. Just recognize when they get hit that it's coming up to pass through, for your energy to pass through. So you have to give it the space and the love, that space to feel it through, and that space to allow for it to be alchemized into love, for love to see it in a new way. And so that is that work. And what automatically happens is your masculine and feminine principles come together into a balance, Heros Gamos. That happens naturally. It's not something you have to force and try to be this or try to be that. You don't need to try to be a divine feminine or try not to be a divine masculine, or either way, or whatever. That happens organically as you allow for the emotional, the feminine emotional and the masculine mental to do their thing. You create the space and the willingness to allow them to just do their thing, to play out and to reveal. Okay. And then these blockages go away. They start to go away. Now, the part where I think can get tricky and a little bit hairy is where we have these really, really deep beliefs, these solid beliefs and belief systems that are core foundational beliefs that have a lot of gravity, and we have such deep grooves in the way that we see things that we're not able to stop that train of thought fast enough for those triggers to go, right? Or for us to continue on this for a long time. And again, this is the reason I do the work that I do, is in the reason I believe that the modality that I use to work with helping balance energy is really, especially around the belief systems, the modality came around at this time, like really recently, more so because of the times that we're in. We are meant to get to this in this lifetime. We are meant to get to unconditional love, not over another, God knows how many lifetimes. This lifetime, you activated on this journey to get through it in this lifetime. And that's why I feel so blessed to be not only to have found this to help along this journey, but just how powerful it is to be able to go into your subconscious mind, right? Which is literally in the body. It's stored in the cells, to be able to go in there and to ask your own body, what beliefs do I have that are no longer serving me? What belief systems do I have, or stuck energies, or reverberating, emotions that are attracting these things? Like, what can I release that's keeping me from my inner union and from this peace? Because it's like a gravity, it's like a groove, like a river that just keeps running and creates this deep riverbed. So things just fall right into it. Instead of that, you can actually alchemize and fill that whole riverbed. So you no longer have those trains of thought that pull you down. And that's really, really important. And you could do this. This is exactly what this is about being present, getting yourself present, getting yourself first neutral, and then into acceptance, and then into love, and seeing things with love. And at these different levels, those grooves are filling in and filling in and filling in until nothing, no condition can pull you back down, because that's where you live. Now, granted, when the twin comes back, the physical twin, you will be pulled into the mind again. That's just what happens. It's a topic for another discussion, but you will always be in that, as long as you're here in this physical, as a positive and a negative unit between the two, then that's going to be mind stuff that you'll have to mind and be aware of, because it's easy to get triggered there. But everywhere else, it'll actually become even easier. So yeah, again, that's for another conversation. But I hope that this helps you to kind of see the reason why it's so important to continue to recognize that the neutrality that you're moving into, the neutrality that you start to work with as you go into the Zen states, does become acceptance at a certain point, where it doesn't require as much meditation in the moment or what have you. You really can just accept, and it's so much easier to just stay in that alignment. And then it becomes more like your meditation is more living. As you're living moment to moment, becomes like a meditation. Oh, I feel something, I can release that. Ho'oponopono, I forgive, whatever. You're actually doing it in the moment. And then more and more so, nothing will even trigger you anymore. So, or very rarely. So I hope that this helps you to see, look, what that journey looks like, and that it does progress, it does get better, but not to expect of yourself to go from 0 to love. You have to step yourself up. And as your core resonant frequency goes up with you, you'll be able to maintain it more and more and more. And then the reunions and the separations and all that stuff will really, you'll start to see that they're showing you exactly where you are on this journey. And you can be less judgmental and less beating yourself up about all of that. Just allowing it and recognizing each separation is an opportunity to continue to work on loving yourself and coming into that unconditional love with yourself and doing the work, right? So I hope that this helps you, and I hope you have just a great rest of your day, and I will see you again on another video, and we'll dive maybe a little bit deeper into how to do this, how to keep doing this. All right. Thanks so much.